If anyone following Jesus has any doubt about what will happen next, key religious leaders have already made up their minds. They definitely are going after Jesus, under whatever pretext they can come up with their mind set on execution. Only when and how are yet to be determined as they try to avoid a riot in the city during the festival. They also have made their defining decision. For Jesus, there's no turning back now. His defining decision has long since been made. However, for those who follow Jesus, it's going to be a week of many decisions, many life-defining decisions. First, there's Judas Iscariot, who belonged to the innermost circle of Jesus' disciples and who goes to the authorities saying, "What will you give me if I hand Jesus over to you?" For whatever reason, Jesus Iscariot has made his defining decision, even though betrayal is considered one of the lowest acts of one of the greatest sins in the ancient world, even though 30 pieces of silver is not very much money, even in Jesus' time. Still, Judas Iscariot, with all the others, gather for the Passover meal, where Jesus' closest followers vow they will not be disloyal to Jesus. But eventually, as the night moves on, the inner circle of those who have followed Jesus for 3 years, who have pledged to die with Jesus if they must, gets swept away in the tide that is turning in a different direction, turning to something different from what they thought they had signed up for when they decided to follow Jesus. Disciples are not only going to shift course a little through this night, it appears most do an about-face, resorting to betrayal, denial, or just scattering fearfully into the night crowd. As the ordeal begins to unfold, various disciples make their choices, falling asleep, lashing out with a sword, deserting Jesus, fleeing. One, fearing for his life, but still very drawn to Jesus, wants to see the outcome. He kind of hangs around, lingering nearby, until the moment of truth, and he gives in to denial not only one time, but 3 times. "I never knew this man Jesus," he says. A group of women who follow Jesus, perhaps now in great sadness and fear as well, remain somewhat present with Jesus, watching from a distance as he is executed. A couple of these women remain at the tomb, just sitting, in shock and grief, facing the tomb. Many defining decisions to be made this week. So where are you? Where are you really in this story? Where are you in your relationship with the living Christ, with Jesus? Jesus is moving forward, following God's call on his life, doing everything he is being led to do, even though it's becoming clear how this is going to turn out, how rough the road ahead really is going to be. Where will you find yourself during this week of stealth and secrecy, bribery, betrayal and denial, false testimony, trumped-up charges for government officials, inciting the crowds, beatings and mockery? How do we understand our lives in this movement with Jesus? How do we understand the cost of following the Jesus way? What defining decisions will we make this week as Jesus moves closer to the cross? God be with us. Amen.